Good morning, everyone. Today we have a word about God sustaining us through the affliction. So let's begin with Genesis 41:51. Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for God has made me forget all my toil in all my father's house. And the name of the second he called Ephraim, for God has caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. So let's pause right there and think about Joseph. Joseph was sold as a slave by his own brothers, and he had to work, and he was in jail after he got falsely imprisoned. But let's not forget how God sustained him through the affliction. That is very traumatizing. That would, cause somebody to be resentful. But we saw Joseph's attitude and how God sustained him throughout all these things. And we need to apply that to our lives as well. A lot of people, we do have problems and things of that nature, but some of our problems, definitely, you're not thrown in jail, falsely in prison like that. And a lot of our problems are minuscule compared to what some other people have gone through. And they had exemplary levels of faith throughout their affliction. Let's think about the apostles in Acts when they were in prison and they were beaten and they were rejoicing while it happened. And so we need to remember that when we give our life to God, that it's not going to be always easy, but God will always give us that Manasseh where he will cause us to forget that pain, not forget in the sense of it didn't happen, but forget the sting of the memory. The things are still there. Joseph obviously still remembered that he got sold into slavery. However, God has sustained him so much to where that sting does no longer has a stronghold over our life. And that's what God wants us to do. Overcoming trauma, because trauma is when the sting is too much for you to bear and you are stuck in the past. Think about it. Jesus would not have us to be stuck in the past. He has overcome the entire world, and he gave us his spirit for us to be free from bondage of the enemy. So let's think about that. Think about your Manasseh. You might be going through some things right now, but God is sustaining you through it. But you need to change your mindset to think, where is God in the midst of this? Because he is always there working. But let's also combine that with what we see in Job. Job 8:7. Though your beginning was small, yet your latter end would increase abundantly. Now, this doesn't mean I'm talking about money, but you can increase abundantly spiritually. Do you know that if you overcome the things that used to plague you, that is overcoming and that is increasing abundantly? Think about the gifts of the Spirit that God has given us. That is what we call increasing abundantly. But that is the word for the day.